Hi, my name is Tim Lancaster. I'm a master's student at UMSL with a TESOL concentration. I am in Donetsk in eastern Ukraine where there's a war going on. My son's a journalist. He's been here for 5 years covering the war. He got married, had a family, had a little baby, named it after me. So I flew over a couple of years ago and got a job as a teacher, enrolled in school, and here I am. The purpose of this project is to determine whether the TESOL perspective on sociolinguistics is of interest to the Russian students and teachers here at this private school. We don't have any of that philosophy here. It's not involved in the TEFL uh, program. TEFL is teaching English as a foreign language is for teaching English in countries where the primary language is not English, like Russia. Students study English, they are studying it as a academic subject, the same way you'd study science or history. On the other hand, TESOL, teaching English to speakers of other languages, is for teachers who have English learners in non-native speakers and living in English-speaking countries. The teachers help the students acclimate to life in America. So the sociolinguistic philosophy of TESOL is a left-wing perspective on race, gender norms, class, the LGBT community, and other issues. I say this because it says so in the literature. One of the articles was written by the editor of the flagship journal, TESOL Quarterly, and he wrote that that's how it is. It's a left-wing radical perspective, and he went so far as saying, unless you address these issues in your submission for publication, that he wouldn't publish you. But I still think it's of value to learn this perspective and a global view on how culture influences language. So it's a value here. And the question I have is, after the intervention, will the students and teachers here agree? So I got really lucky to find this job at Cambridge Assessment English. They've got, it's the biggest and oldest and most quality English teaching program in the world. Primarily what they do, well, they teach English, but they have these assessment levels. And once you pass B2, you take a test, an exam, and it makes you can become eligible for college, like it's accepted in the United States. In the United States, generally, we have a TOEFL. It looks like that's how it's pronounced. But you can also get in with the Cambridge assessment certification for at the B2 level. And that's the students that I talk to in this presentation are in the project are B2 students. So I found a lot of problems with TESOL in the literature, multilingualism, lingualism. The website on TESOL is only English. There's no translations for articles or abstracts. The perspective is seen as linguistic imperialism. It's a mono uh, philosophy. A lot of the literature says there's not much research on how TESOL works in non outside of English-speaking countries. The TESOL program doesn't really work over here. I found that out myself when I was in my second semester of teaching over here. And I'm like to the teacher, I said, none of this applies to anything I'm doing. She says, well, you're not doing TESOL, you're doing TEFL. There's too much linguistic theory according to the literature. The leftist perspective not compatible. No global unified theory on sociolinguistics. Big problem with anti-Americanism. And there's a lack of TEFL certified native speaking English teachers here. So That's why I got a job without being a certified teacher. So I couldn't find anything about TEFL in the literature outside of formal prescriptive English. That's all they do. It's English is communication. That's it. But yet everything I found supported the, the sociolinguistic approach. Um, but there was nothing that was specific about TESOL. So I searched and searched, but there was nothing. And that's why another reason I'm bringing this up. I don't know if I'll be able to institute an actual class because of constraints with Cambridge, but I want to see if I can influence the teachers to include it in their normal daily teaching activities. I have a couple of master's degrees, one in sociology, one in criminology, both from UMSL, but I never did any uh, research reports, quantitative, qualitative. Took the classes, but never wrote any up, and so I struggled with this, and Dr. O'Brien helped me and kind of made me do it. So I tried qualitative observational data, focus groups, document analysis, and teacher conferencing. Then we did some exit surveys by the students and the teachers. The teacher surveys were specific to technical issues, whether we'd be able to do it or not. The document analysis was really huge because I knew nothing about what was any of this. I'm a brand new student and never taught in a class before, so it was good to learn all this. So the focus groups, teacher conferencing, and presentations went really well. I had a lot of students each once a week, 4 classes, and then the teacher conference. There's 15 15 students in each class. There was 4 classes, so that would be 60 students a week, and then 15 teachers. The teacher conferencing, we discussed technical issues as well as sociolinguistic perspective. We did a formal presentation on the 20th of October. That's after for 2 weeks, we just had some informal meetings to everybody loosen up and get used to me. Then we had exit surveys after 7 weeks. The surveys for the teachers were specifically prepared to address the technical issues because we were concerned that Cambridge, it would be appropriate to add a class to their program. So the intervention was all about the students. I thought they would benefit from having this perspective in their classroom. The students and the teachers would help me see if we can make this work. I really enjoyed watching the students explore their own sociolinguistic, social-cultural beliefs and attitudes, because this was a very controversial issue. We're in Russia, and we're talking about leftist cultural philosophies from America and how to implement that into a program here. Fascinating. So the big question was, how would this go over with Eastern Bloc students and teachers, having been raised in a right-wing conservative environment? They all have different reasons for learning English for their career, social media, and for understanding American films or music, and some planned on traveling to the United States. I was able to help them understand not just the cultural perspective, but sociolinguistic perspectives in general, such as semantics, and informal styles such as colloquialism, metaphors, and idioms. I explained to the groups that the formal linguistic structure that they were learning at Cambridge would leave them ill-equipped to communicate with native speakers in America because we don't talk that way. So, as expected, the students uh, didn't believe the teacher perspective was consistent with their own beliefs and cultural values. You know, I expected that. But they did learn the importance of a more global social linguistic perspective, where I hope to bring in some tolerance levels because they weren't very tolerant in the focus groups. The teachers felt the same way. Uh, and teachers were and directors were not real comfortable with the prospect of developing our program uh, because the Cambridge program is so structured. Uh, so we had to come up with a different plan. I, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to insert my program into their curriculum. But I'm going to try to work with teachers, talk to them in informal basis, see if I can get them to, open up and think about some unbiased perspectives and try to bring some tolerance into their classrooms. Thanks a lot, everybody.